Good morning, Year 4. It's Miss Atkin. I hope you are all well. Today I have got your literacy lesson, so you will need your literacy book and your pencil. The first thing I want you to do is write your date at the top of the page, which is Monday the 25th of January 2021. Then leave a line and write your learning objective, which is to apply SPAG skills. And then leave a line and write our subheading of SPAG. So pause the video so you can write those 3 things at the top of your book. The first thing we are going to do is our SPAG recap. So what is a punctuation mark? Have a think, what's a punctuation mark? A punctuation mark is a mark that is used in our writing. It can be at the end of a sentence, but commas are used in the middle of sentences. So what punctuation marks can you remember? We all know that in our writing we use full stops very often. When we ask a question, we use a question mark. We can also use commas in our sentences, and we also know about exclamation marks. So those are some of the punctuation marks you will remember. Your first challenge is to put the correct punctuation mark at the end of the sentence. So zoos are a great place for us to learn about animals. Spicy's sentence is, can you imagine being trapped in a zoo? And Hot's sentence is, what a cruel place zoos are. So pause the video, write which challenge you're going to do, and then underneath write your sentence with the correct punctuation mark. So now you've had a go at that, we will go through our answers. So zoos are a great place for us to learn about animals. That's not a question, it's just a sentence, so we need a full stop. Spicy says, can you imagine being trapped in a zoo? They're asking us if we can imagine, so it's a question, so we need a question mark. Hot says, what a cruel place zoos are. It has a question word, what, but is it asking us if they are a cruel place, or is it telling us they're a cruel place? It's telling us what a cruel place they are, so we actually need an exclamation mark. So your book should look something like this. You should have written which challenge you did, and then your sentence. If you got it correct, give it a tick. Okay, so now we'll focus on exclamation marks. So when do we use exclamation marks? Pause the video so you can have a think about when we would use them. We use an exclamation mark at the end of a statement when a strong emotion is being expressed. It can be good and bad. It might show surprise or excitement or anger, fear or shock. So it shows a really strong emotion in the statement. They usually start with the words what or how, which we know are question words. So it might be tricky sometimes to see if it's a question or an exclamation. For example, what a big elephant that is. It starts with the question word what, but it's telling us, wow, what a big elephant that is. It might be showing surprise or shock. Wow, what a big elephant that is. So it needs an exclamation mark. Also, what about this one? What a scary lion that is. Again, it's got a question word, but it's not asking us if it's a scary lion. It's telling us, wow, that is a scary lion. It's surprised, isn't it? So we need an exclamation mark when it's telling us and it's showing us a big emotion, a strong emotion. So you have got another quick challenge. Mild, spicy or hot. Again, write which one you're going to do in your book. Does it need a question mark or an exclamation mark? Mild is, how is that lion so scary? Spicy, what a horrible thing zoos are. And hot, you've got 2. how hungry that tiger was. Shouldn't it belong in the wild? So pause the video and write out which challenge you do, write your sentence and write if it needs a question mark or an exclamation mark. So now you have had a go at that challenge. Let's go through our answers. So Miles says, how is that lion so scary? It's asking us how, isn't it? So it needs a question mark. Spicy says, what a horrible thing zoos are. It's got a question word, but is it asking us if they're horrible? No, it's telling us that they are horrible, so it needs an exclamation mark. Hot, then, the first one says, how hungry that tiger was. Is it asking us if it's hungry, or is it telling us it was hungry? It's telling us we're shocked at how hungry the tiger was. So it needs an exclamation mark. The second one, shouldn't it belong in the wild? It's asking us if it should belong in the wild, so it's a question. So your book should look something like this. You should have written which challenge you did and then tick if you got right the correct punctuation marks. Now we are on to our learning for our spag lesson then. So we're going to start with commas. Pause the video and think about when we use commas. We use commas to separate a list or to join two clauses together. So my sentence says, animals in the wild can hunt, socialise and be free. Where should my comma go in this sentence? Pause the video and have a think. Okay, let's look at it together then. So, animals in the wild can hunt, socialise and be free. I think I've got a list. So my comma needs to separate my list. So I think it needs to go here. Animals in the wild can hunt, socialise and be free. Remember, you don't need one before the and. Here I've got another sentence. It says, when I go to the zoo, I get to see animals being fed, learn about where they live and watch them have fun. Again, I've got a list. So where should my comma go to separate the list? You can pause the video to have a think. My list says that I get to see animals being fed, learn about where they live and watch them have fun. So my comma needs to separate fed and learn. Well done if you got that right. Oh, I've got another sentence. This one's slightly different. Animals in the wild are free, but they are in danger if they are ill. Where does my comma need to go? If you said it needs to go before but and after free, you are correct because but is a conjunction and we know commas go before conjunctions. What about this one? This one's a little bit trickier. Zoologists take care of animals in the zoo, although some people believe animals shouldn't be forced to live in captivity. Where should my comma go? Pause the video so you can have a think. If you said it needs to go between zoo and although, you are correct. Although is my conjunction, which joins two sentences together. So my comma goes before it. Okay, your first challenge then. You need to get your sheet of activities, choose mild, spicy or hot, and complete activity 1. You can set it out like this, so write which challenge you're going to do at the top, write activity 1 and then have a go at the activity below. So pause the video so you can have a go at that activity. Okay, so now you should have completed activity 1 in your book. We can move on to conjunctions. What is a conjunction? Pause the video to have a think. A conjunction is a word that can join two clauses together to make one longer sentence. What conjunctions can you think of? Do you remember a lot? You might remember and, but, because. but there are loads you might have remembered. Here are some of the conjunctions we learned about. So we learned about coordinating conjunctions, which give equal importance to both sentences. We learned about subordinating conjunctions, which join two clauses, two sentences, but the second one usually wouldn't make sense on its own. And we also learned about contrastive conjunctions, which compare one thing to another. So things like although or whereas. These are the ones that I think we will use lots in our campaigns that we will be writing. So, which word is the conjunction in my sentence? It says, animals in the wild have a great life, but if they get ill or injured, they could be in danger. Ooh, I've spelled injured wrong. They could be in danger. Which word is my conjunction? Pause the video so you can have a think. My conjunction is but. It joins two clauses together. Animals in the wild have a great life. If they get ill or injured, they could be in danger. And also, I have to remember my comma before the conjunction. What about this sentence then? It says, zoos keep animals in captivity, although they prevent extinction and protect them from being endangered. Pause the video so you can try and spot the conjunction. My conjunction is although. My comma is just before it, so it's in the right place. And although is one of the contrastive conjunctions that we learnt about that joins two ideas which are different. So zoos keep animals in captivity. They're saying that's a bad thing, although they prevent extinction and protect them from being endangered, which is a good thing. Okay, your task then. So again, you need to choose mild, spicy or hot. You might stick with the same one you did last time and complete activity 2 into your book. So it should look something like this. You've got activity 1. Underneath, you can write activity 2 and have a go at the activities and the sentences underneath. So pause the video so you can have a go at your challenge. Okay, so now you should have had a go and finished activity 2. What you need to do, again, is pause the video, go to the blog and click the link for BBC Bite Size, that will be on there, and you need to watch this video on what is a fronted adverbial. It's only a minute long, so you watch that video and come straight back to this lesson video, okay? So pause now and go and find the link for the video. So now you've watched that video, you should have a good idea of what a fronted adverbial is. An adverbial is a word or phrases that gives us more information to the sentence. A fronted adverbial describes the action at the start of the sentence instead of at the end. For example, I discovered fronted adverbials earlier today. Earlier today tells me more information about when I discovered the fronted adverbials. So that is my adverbial. But it's not fronted because it's at the end of my sentence. If we look at my sentence here, it says, earlier today, I discovered fronted adverbials. My adverbial is now at the beginning. The bit that gives me more information about the sentence is at the start. So it's now a fronted adverbial. Okay, so we can have lots of different types of adverbials. They usually tell us when, how, or where something happens. There's lots of examples here on the screen. You can have adverbials of time, so how often maybe, or when. You can have how frequently they are, so once, twice, regularly. You might have where they are. So here, outside, you might even say in the wild or in the zoo. You might have manner, so how they're done. Sadly, slowly, bravely. You also can have possibility, so things like perhaps or maybe. Okay, so here is some examples of some fronted adverbials. Okay, so now we have had a look at some examples of fronted adverbials, and we know that they tell us when, how, and where things happen. Let's see if we can spot the fronted adverbial. So, unfortunately, some animals have to live in the zoo because the wild is dangerous for them. Which word is my fronted adverbial? Gives us a hint. It tells us it's fronted. My fronted adverbial is unfortunately. What does this word tell us? What does it tell us about the sentence? Because fronted adverbials give us more information. So what information does it give? If we go back to our examples, can you spot unfortunately in one of these? It shows us unfortunately in this one, and it shows it down here. So it tells us about manner or feeling. So it tells you how. If we think about unfortunately, it means sadly, or that is not a good thing. So sadly, unfortunately, some animals have to live in the zoo because the wild is dangerous for them. Okay, so that's what it tells us about the sentence. Can we have a go at changing this sentence so the adverbial is fronted? It says, animals can roam free and socialise in the wild. Looking at this sentence, can you spot the adverbial that gives us more information about it? You can pause the video so you can have a think. In this sentence, it says animals can roam free and socialise in the wild. If you said in the wild is our adverbial, you are correct because it tells us where this is happening. So if I was going to change my sentence, I would start by saying in the wild, and then I can finish the sentence. Animals can roam free and socialise. So my sentence stays the same. I've just changed my adverbial so it's at the front. So it's now a fronted adverbial. So in the wild, animals can roam free and socialise. What about this example then? It says some animals sadly won't survive in the wild because they are ill or injured. Pause the video so you can have a think about which words or phrases are the adverbials. You might have spotted that we have got in the wild again. It tells us where this is, but also it tells us the manner, the feelings when it says sadly. So we've got two adverbial phrases in here. You might say, and might change the sentence to start with in the wild, or you might start it with sadly if you were to change the sentence. You could do both. So you might say sadly in the wild some animals won't survive, or we need to come there, because they are ill or injured. So I've got both of my adverbials at the front. You might just say, in the wild, some animals sadly won't survive. Or you might say, sadly, some animals won't survive in the wild. I've chosen to use both, but you can just do one. Okay, you've got a challenge now to do activity 3 from your sheet. So again, you've got mild, spicy or hot, and then activity 3, and it's got the activities below for you. It should look something like this, so you should have had activity 1 and activity 2 above. You can write activity 3 and then underneath have a go at the activity. Once you have done activity 3, you can have a go at our challenge, which is to write an extended sentence about the zoo using a fronted adverbial and a conjunction. So the first thing you need to do is have a go at your activity 3, and then you can have a go at the challenge. Once you have done both of those things, your literacy lesson is finished, and you can send a photo to year4@hooklow.sheffield.sch.uk and we can have a look, and we will also see it on Friday when you bring in your books. So off you go to have a go at activity 3 and the challenge.